Hey, Coach, this is Coach Van back again with our next playbook. And today we're going to take a look at the Chicago Action Playbook. This playbook has 174 pages, 100 different Chicago action plays, 24 drills, and we mix in a few different ways that you can also defend against this action. So I just want to kind of scroll through, let you guys take a quick look what's in the playbook. Also, towards the second half of the video, I'm actually going to attach for all the people who do not know what Chicago action is. Some people call it Zoom. Some call it Chicago. I call it Chicago. But I'm going to attach a podcast I had done with Steve at Steve Collins at teachhoops.com. And we actually shoot some video and show you some video, of some Chicago action in that. So if you're not familiar with it, go ahead and skip forward and take a look at that. But let's go ahead and take a look at what's in this book. You'll see here in the table of contents, I got 4 different pages just in Chicago action plays. And the one thing you'll notice is if you're familiar with our unscoutable playbook, or if you've purchased that, there's a lot of our terminology and vocabulary. And we give you a ton of different actions, Chicago action out of our different series. So you'll see here we have our 21 series, our 4 series, our 5 wide series, 5 wide delay. We have some AI Iverson action, our Boston flip. We got one that comes out of a box set, our Carolina secondary break, our point action, our point away and point over series, and our DC, which is our dribble circle, entry action that we like to use, double stack, our Hawk series, horn series, point again, we got more point action here, our Rocket 2-side fast break, our Spartan series, which is out of the Princeton family. We have some through, some UCLA, some UConn, and Wisconsin, which is our 4-out 1 end. So we also give you a couple different sideline out of bounds plays that you can use. So the whole point of that with our Chicago action is we want to give you, no matter what offense that you run, we have an answer for you. And we got a Chicago action play that you can implement into your team. So kind of go ahead and scroll down here a little bit. This is one of my favorite ones, 5 wide Hornet. I'll kind of blow it up so you guys can take a look. This is just a basic pick and roll off the side. 4 kind of sets the screen here. 1 comes here and then throws the ball back to 5, and we're looking for the high-low on the seal. But if we don't have that, we immediately, if you look at frame 2, go into Chicago action. So 5 dribbles over, 3 sets the pin down, and then 2's coming up. So X2 has to fight through X3 and the dribble handoff. So you'll see here in frame 3 that when 2 attacks, 3 lifted up after the pin down screen, 5 rolled, 4 spaced out, and 1. So when 2 attacks here, 2 can score, but he also has 4 different passing opportunities. So kind of just gives you an idea. You'll see here that everything is color coded. There's full descriptions within each frame. And it should also note that every single one of these plays, they're printable. You can also viewable on a iPad, desktop, laptop, or an iPhone. So you can bring these plays or drills to your practice or game. So I'll go ahead and take a look. We'll scroll down. These are all Chicago action. Tons of Chicago action. Here's the Chicago action drill section. And we even get into a couple ways that you can defend against it right here. This one right here we call Clipper. This is actually one I picked up from Doc Rivers, how he liked to defend against it. So we give you a few pages there to take a look at. So 174 pages. So that's it. That's the Chicago action. Right now, I'm going to lead into the second part of the video. But if you do have any questions whatsoever, you can email me at coachvan@nextplayhoops.com, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. So enjoy the second half of the video, and we'll see you at the next video. Thanks.
All right, today we're going to talk about the Chicago series. So, Coach, literally no idea what you're talking about with Chicago.
Okay.
So you kind of gave me a Spark Note / Cliff Note version before we got going, but you're going to kind of explain. You said it's like, I mean, I like the NBA. I have guys that I've coached playing in the NBA, but I'm not per se an NBA guy. I'm more of a college guy as far as watching games. So explain what you mean by the Chicago set or Chicago.
Yeah, some people are calling this Zoom action. Other people call it Chicago action. And it's if you're watching an NBA game, every single team is running it. And they run it all game long. And once you see this, you're going to be like, the light bulb is going to go off. And it's such a simple action. You're like, how is that so effective? But it's extremely effective. And it's a 3-man game on one side of the floor. So I got a video here for all of you
who are watching. If you're listening, I'll put it down in the show notes. You can go to YouTube and you'll be able to see the diagrams too when we go to Fast Draw. But we'll try to talk through it the best we can.
Yep.
So go ahead.
We're going to ignore here there's a point entry pass here that we're going to make, and it's going to be point over action, but we're just going to ignore that action right here because that's more of a decoy.
The high post getting the ball at the elbow, yeah.
Correct. And then the point guard's kind of coming off pinch post on that side, but we're going to ignore that. Even though you still could go into Chicago, but we don't want to confuse anybody here. You can still go into Chicago action over here with the down screen. But what happens is we want to look at the weak side of the floor, and we got a pin down screen coming for the corner player over here.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and play this. Now, what happens is you can see that the player in the corner setting up his man is going to come off this pin down. And you can see number 23 here, who's got the ball, who received the post entry pass, is now going to come off and get ready to perform a DHO with the corner guy.
And explain to people what that is, DHO.
Dribble handoff.
Okay. And what are the two guys over closest to us doing? So you have this 3-person action away on the far side of the court, but what are these two? Because I would just tell them to sink. Yeah,
well, actually, I mean, you could sink because you see what's coming here, and you got this DHO, so you want to kind of clear here. But what you really want to do is you want to have them interchanging, so that way this guy can't come in here and sag into the lane. So you want to occupy. You always want to try to have some decoy actions on the weak side of the floor that are exactly that, just decoy actions. So one guy can't, sag in and take the hole.
Okay.
So we'll keep going here. Now, right here, here's where you can kind of see this gets set up. So this is why this is so difficult. This defender has got to come through the pin down, and then he has to get through the DHO, which is also like a ball screen, right?
It's like another ball screen. It is. Correct.
So it's like a 2 ball screen. Now, this guy is going to roll. Oh, I don't know what just happened there.
That's okay.
Let me go back. Sorry.
Go back. So hit play. Just let it. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so now what happens is the DHO guy is going to roll straight to the rim, okay? And the guy who set the original pin down is now going to pop up and lift up for this possible throwback pass. So now this puts this guy in a tough position. What's he going to do? Number one, we got a nice lane wide open here. If you can see, here's the weak side guy, and this is why we did the interchange. He came all the way in here. He could pass right here for a wide open 3 here in the corner.
Right, as long as they rise a little bit off that. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Now, but here's now this guy's going to come into the lane. He's going to take a wide open jump shot. But this guy's got to make a decision. If he tags the roll man, then we have a throwback pass for a wide open 3 here. If he steps out on here, and this guy has now got to come up and stop the ball, now we got a little lob opportunity to here. You'll see here as I hit play. It was just a wide open little jumper. Probably not the best idea. He could have.
Nah, it would have taken it to the rim. So play the next. Don't you have 2 more right after this? Because I think that not the next one, but the third one's really good. Yep. So just talk through these.
You got the same thing. Make a pass. We got the pin down coming in Chicago action. We got the roll. We got the lift.
And then here's the one. I think they get a dunk off of this one. I think. Roll, lob. Yep. Look at the big guy pinning in the.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's Rui Hachimura, and Gonzaga is so good at this too. Is like now. There's a couple reasons. Let me see if I can rewind this slightly. There's a couple reasons why he is doing this. Number one, it clears up the lob on the weak side. But what can Gonzaga is so good at this. This guy can come all the way down here. He not only did he seal for a post up, but he actually sealed his man for a wide open drive.
Right. Right. Yeah, he could have kept going. And the thing is, if this guy on the same side helps, it's a wide open three in the same side corner. I love that.
Yeah. And you see this guy right here. Now, how as coaches, what do we teach as far as tagging the roll man? It's always the lowest man from the
Right.
weak side of the floor where that ball is coming from. So what happens is this guy right here is typically down here to prevent that lob. And that's when you see Corey Kispert over here is wide open. But they're smart enough to not leave Corey Kispert open for that wide open three. But that's Chicago action. So
I love that. Let's go back. We can just briefly go through the
plays.
the fast draw one too here.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so go through it. I mean, some people learn different ways. So let's just briefly go through it here. So
yeah,
I love the same side of the court. I love that.
Yeah, I gave a couple different examples here. This one is also, you can run this out of your, I don't know if you're a secondary break guy or like to run the numbered break, but I call this Carolina strong through Chicago fist.
Right.
Again, Carolina's our 1-4-3 numbered break. Strong means we made a pass to the strong side of the court. Through means one goes through. Then we go into Chicago action, and then fist is the ball screen. So basically the play call is our actions.
Okay.
We spoke about this in a previous podcast, but
yeah.
So one passes the ball ahead to number two, and then one's going to cut all the way through. We're going to swing the ball quickly from 2 to 4, and this is when we go into Chicago action, okay? 4 is coming off here. 3 is coming down to set the screen for 1, to clear 1. And then 4 is going to DHO with 1. Now we're kind of almost in pistol action. I don't know if everyone's familiar with pistol action, but it's as soon as you come off a DHO and then you're coming off an immediate ball screen.
Ball screen.
So as 4 is coming off with this DHO, 5 is sprinting up to set that ball screen afterwards.
Okay.
And again, you got 5 is going to roll, 4 is going to replace, 1's coming off. So what's the decision here? If X4 comes in here to tag,
you got wide open 3.
4, right? Yeah. If we stay here, okay, now X5 has got a tough decision. Do I stop the ball? Well, that's going to leave that pass.
Well, and I think X2 and X3 have decisions too, especially if they're doing any sort of movement on that side. It's like, what do you do? Do you stop the drive? Do you leave the 3? I mean,
well, you would have to probably do this, right?
I know.
I think X2, so X3's got to come in here and play now, and then X2 has to sink and play too.
Right.
And it's going to have to go in scramble mode. So if that ball goes to 3, he's going here, and then we recover. And we have to do something like that, right?
I know. I love that.
I'm probably not doing a pretty good job for the listeners at home.
No, that's okay. They can. That's all right. So then, what are the other 2 actions on that?
Yeah. So here's another one. So the one I just gave was Carolina strong action. This is Carolina swing double Chicago 41. So now we just swing the ball 1-4-3 over here to the 3-man.
So they didn't do this on the video. They didn't swing it. They just kind of started it on the side. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I just put this into our Carolina offense, which is, it's nice because when you come down, do you want to get set up into play or do you just want to get into your offense? Well, this is your numbered break. Boom. We're just coming down the floor. We're dribbling the ball up. We're in our spots and we're just going. We're in our Chicago stuff. Yep. So we swing the ball immediately, 1 to 4 to the 3. And then we have a double stagger away. So 4, if you look at frame 2 here, number 4 and 1 are going to go set a double stagger for 2. 3 will pass the ball to number 2. And then if you remember in the first video we watched, this is the action they got in. And I told you to ignore this. Now we have a
ball side one.
Yeah. So now number 2 is going to pass the ball to number 4 in point over action. This is point over action when you pass the ball to number 4 at the point, and then you come over almost in a pinch post situation. Okay. So now there's so many things you can do from here, but I'm just going to keep it simple here. Number 2 sets the down screen on X1. Okay. Number 1 is now going to come off and receive the DHO from 4. And here we go. We're in that situation again. X1 has got to fight through this screen, and then he's got to fight through the DHO and screen there. So what are we going to do? Are we going to go over? Are we going to switch? What are we going to do?
So the key is you're making the defense make decisions.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so simple, right?
It is.
Super simple action, but it's extremely hard to defend. And really, I'm not.
It's not that hard of an action. To be honest with you, from a teaching standpoint, it's not that hard of an action.
Correct. And the key thing is you can run 3, we talked about the SSGs, right? You just run a 3-on-3 and all you're doing is reads and reading the tag man. But you got 4 rolling, 2's going to lift behind, and here's that action again. What are you going to do? Is X2 going to come in here? 2 is open. So you can see how effective that can be.
Okay, and then give the last one here so we can keep.
I got one. This one's kind of creative. This is kind of point. This is a dribble handoff with 1 and 2, and then we immediately hit number 5 here at the point, and you can see some X action here. 2's going to come off.
Do you like the X action? Do you like the scissors action?
I like the scissors action as a decoy action. Yeah.
You don't score much off the scissors action.
You might score off it one time, and then all of a sudden they're going to get hip to it, right? Or they should.
Right.
But I love this. You know, you could maybe score off this early, and if you did, you might want to lift 3 up and then bring them back down. But then this is what I like. Immediately, you go into, once 4 comes off on this side, we're in Chicago action as you go into frame 3, sets the down screen, 5's coming in the DHO, and again, you got 4 lifting, 5 rolling. Now, one thing that I always do too, we talk about terminology. If I call anything, let's say I call 21 elbow X Chicago. If I call 2 at the end of it, that means that my DHO guy will, instead of rolling, he will set a screen now. A second, so he will DHO and then down screen for 4. And then he will slip. So what happens is they think one action's coming, then you kind of hit them with something different, and now you're just you DHO, and then you go straight into another ball screen or down screen for 4, and he pops up.
Do you do a lot of that, like little tweaks and stuff?
My books are full of it. I am everything I run is a counter to a counter to a counter. You can defend me any way you want, and I got a flip side to it.
Okay, so let's talk about so again, I'll put this down in the show notes, the video that we watched and this fast draw. So let's say someone wanted, where would this be in your library of 18 billion things you have on your website?
Well, you can find it in the Carolina offense, which is my secondary transition offense.
Okay, Chicago's in that. Yep.
Chicago is also it has its own playbook where I give you over 100 different Chicago actions out of multiple different alignments.
Okay. So there's specifically their own Chicago playbook.
If you are just looking for Chicago action, and the Chicago action is great too, because that book comes with drills that go with it. And breakdown drills and reads, because ultimately, if you really want to be good at this, you need to teach your players the proper reads. Who they're
who's running this the most?
I wouldn't even say anybody's running it the most. Every single team in the NBA is running it, but Gonzaga runs it. Michigan State run it. Those are, there's a reason why those two programs right there are stealing from the NBA, and that's why they're who they are. Okay, perfect.